They're not much good, Kansas City. I got to say, I don't like taking big minors in NFL, but I took the minus 7.5.
Did I read a stat that in first quarters they've conceded 61 points to 6 or something?
They've never been ahead.
Yeah, 61 points to 6 or something.
They have never been ahead in a game this year, and I think it's the first time in forever that's actually happened. It's amazing. I was wondering what the line was. So, yeah, I think that's easy money, that one. And Chargers coming off that terrible 7-6 loss to Cleveland, which essentially was, borderline North Turner gone that day. So you knew they were going to come out with a point to prove. And Kansas City's the right team to play when you get a point to prove because they are terrible. Look, injury-ridden, no doubt. A lot of injuries. But that doesn't give them a pass because they're just playing horribly. Horribly.
Now, we do have to take a break. We've got the NFL Game Pass to give away after the break, so we need 2 callers on the line. First 2 to go head-to-head in a Who Am I a question with Al, your quizmaster, 94291116. To get on the line, the first 2 callers through will be in the running there. We are going to take a break. A reminder, this is brought to you by a Betstar. Why would you bet anywhere else when Betstar give you double fixed odds on all Group 1 races all spring long from 8 a.m. on a race day? Of course, 8 a.m. Cup morning if you want to have a crack at Red Cordeaux, for example. If you think you can go one better than last year, you can get about 19 to 1 or thereabouts on Red Cordeaux.
I think it's into $10. The best we gave was $21, into roughly a $10 chance.
Well, I had a crack at Glass Harmonium in the McKinnon on the chance that's in the 1 in 6 chances it comes to play. Came to play and almost got it at about 24 to 1 or thereabouts, which is...
It is tough for those horses to back up Ocean Park. Just couldn't back up Saturday to Saturday. Northcote, it's a done deal. It's a tough ask.
And particularly with, Ocean Park's a good example of it, and probably going off topic a little bit, but Ocean Park's a good example of it because it's set for the Cox Plate. That's what they've got a program that's planned probably a year out, set for one specific race, runs a fabulous race in the Cox Plate, it wins the race, and they think, oh, you know what, let's run again next week.
Yeah.
So it's not as simple as that.
$500,000 race or whatever it was.
Yeah, agreed.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with plenty more after this on Bet Stars and Stripes. Welcome back to Bet Stars and Stripes. Ditch the scissors because Betstar created the easiest online cup sweep ever. Betstar's Mate Stakes lets you set up your cup sweep with the click of a button. You can even set it up via Facebook as well. Head to matestakes.betstar.com.au and get your sweep started for the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday. Alice Gander, Ed Wyatt and Dr. Turf with us in the studio. Before we get to Robert and Tim, who are our 2 quiz contestants, Dermot Brereton's given us a call, wants to ask a question of Ed. Derm, nice to have you on board.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi, Dermy.
Well. Hey, Ed, I wanted to ask you the other day, but I didn't get a chance to get through in the time allotted. About 20 years ago, we had a Pittsburgh Steeler so-called legend. He was a linebacker. His name was John Kolb. He did a study, like a thesis, and he came and trained with Hawthorn for about 6 weeks in pre-season. And I see this season there's a quarterback with the unusual surname of Kolb as well. Any relation? Because he was a pretty big unit, this fella John Kolb, the linebacker.
Yeah, he was. And the guy you're talking about is the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. And it's actually, his name is Kevin Kolb, which is really weird. Makes no sense to pronounce it that way, but that's how he does it. So I actually don't think that they are related because, his name's, and I think he's from a different part of the country. But it is very, very, not a common name. There aren't 100 of them running around in the NFL, that's for sure.
I think you're thinking of LaShawn Kolb, Jeremy.
Oh, Turfy, where are you coming? Hey, Turfy, you're going to be working with my 8th removed cousin soon, are you, Danny Brereton?
I have. I've been working with Danny for about 3 weeks. Are you really related to Danny?
No bloody idea, mate.
You Irish. You just stick onto those Irish roots for as long as you can, don't you?
All right, boys. Have a great night.
Thanks, Derm.
Thanks, Derm.
Brereton there joining us. We've got Robert and Tim on the line. Robert and Preston's our first quiz contestant. Robert, good evening.
Good evening, chaps. How are we?
Now, going very well. Now, the first question's the simplest question, just a buzzer test, which is your own name, Robert.
Robert.
Perfect. Now, Tim in Rowville. Tim, good evening.
Good evening.
Now, best of luck to you and your buzzer test as well.
Tim.
Perfect.
Robert and Tim, you know the rules of the
Rolling.
game, but I'll repeat them very, very quickly. I'll read out a set of clues. First one with the buzzer gets an opportunity to answer. If you answer correctly, there'll be an NFL Game Pass. In fact, we'll actually give you a choice of an NFL or an NBA Game Pass because the NBA season's just started. And you can have a choice of an NFL or NBA Game Pass for the remainder of the season, including playoffs. If you get the answer wrong, your opponent gets 2 free cracks at it, 2 free clues where you're not allowed to interrupt, and then you can come back in. So
listen to the headmaster.
From the top, I was born in New Jersey in 1986. I played college football at the University of Massachusetts. I went undrafted in the 2010 NFL draft and was signed as a free agent. I've scored 7 touchdowns already this season. In 2011, I broke my team's record for the most receiving yards ever in a single season. I celebrate every touchdown with a salsa dance. I am the wide receiver for the New York Giants. Tim, go for it.
Cruz.
Yeah. Oh.
Do we give that? Yes, we'll give that. We'll give
Yeah.
that. Full name is Victor Cruz.
Victor
Well done,
Cruz.
Tim.
He's even got his own little, 60 seconds with Victor Cruz, showing him having a salsa lesson. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't. I've got to download that on YouTube.
So congratulations, Tim.
Hang on the phone, Tim, and Tim, our Tim, will take your details, and someone from Betstars will give you a call tomorrow, mate, and we'll get your details and get that Game Pass out to you.
It was great last year. I just 7 touchdowns this year surprises me because he's
had a few drops,
He's not
hasn't
having
he?
a great.
He's had a few drops. Yeah, I agree with you. But he's made some big catches like that one against the Redskins. But yeah.
Now, before we often start with the issues of the week in the NFL, we'll get to that in a moment, but we do also run a segment here that we like to call Education, or Understanding the Game, in which Ed will unravel some of the terminology and rules of the NFL and explain them in, I guess, layman terms.
Incredibly popular segment, Darren. Incredibly popular. People ask me about the schedule, the fixture. That's always a big question, of course. 17 weeks, but 16 rounds, essentially. So there's one bye. Every team has one bye and a week off. And the way that you run the schedule is very complicated. I won't go into that completely. But in each, there are 8 4-team divisions. And you play teams in your division twice, home and away. So the Giants would play the Cowboys, the Redskins, and the Eagles twice.
Yeah, that's 6 games.
That's 6 in your own division. That's right. And then they split it up. They match you up against other divisions. So you might play the AFC East, let's say. So then that's how they do it every time. So the Giants would then play the Patriots, the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins. So that's how they structure it that way. And like what the AFL's trying to do, there is some things in place to have really the good teams from the year before play a tougher schedule than the really bad teams. So there is an attempt to try and do that.
Well, the AFL's attempting it for the first time next year.
With the exception of Adelaide, who dodged the top 4 again the second year in a row.
Of course, they have problems of their own, don't they?
Yes, indeed. But
Sorry, Dash. With the old collective bargaining agreement, there was talk of extra games, was there not?
The commissioner and some owners won an 18th game. And I can tell you it's not going to happen very soon because a lot of it has to do with the players' union, the concussion factor. I think if they're trying to get an 18th game through, that's going to be a nightmare logistically. I think you'll see them back off that a little bit. Part of the problem is the 4 exhibition games they play are included in a season ticket package. So if you want to buy season tickets to the Seattle Seahawks, you get the 8 home games. You also have to pay for the 2 exhibition games they play. And that's a real bone of contention for a lot of people. So they want to give some more value. And so the commissioners tried to sneak that 18th game in. I just don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Players' union is strong, isn't it?
Very strong. Very, very strong. And more will come out of these lawsuits and that they're happening, these ex-players with the concussions. And that's one of those watch this space thing in the next, 4 to 6 years type thing.
some of the issues to come out of the NFL. Might start off with the Jets. They've often been in this segment, and they remain in this segment.
They could sponsor this
That's
segment,
right.
really. We should contact someone in the Jets organization. We talk about them that much.
They need another hurricane, quick.
Because too soon?
Too soon. I mean, how long can Rex last? Or can he last? And because, in all honesty, he talks the talk every year, Rex Ryan. And
He does.
They disappointed in the playoffs last year, and they're having a bad season.
Get hammered at home by Miami 30-9. Sanchez was terrible. Bad ball security, had some issues. The good news for the Jets and their fans is you got a week off. This is their bye week. The bad news is they go to Seattle the week afterwards. Seattle, tough place to play. Really, really good defense. So be careful before you start saying, let's throw Tebow in and make this happen, because you're going into Seattle, they'll be ready for that. So I really wonder, just a lot of questions. Like you said, Doc, why did they bring Tebow on if they weren't going to use him? They've done nothing with him.
A couple of times they've done nothing to run at
but
the end.
Very simplistic stuff.
So do you think that was their mentality? Do you think their approach was, let's use him as a special play kind of addition?
And I think that's what everyone assumed, because the one thing about a backup quarterback is you want to have him very similar to your starter, because if your starter goes down, you don't want to change a million things. You just want a backup to slot right in, call the same plays, do the same things. Tebow's not a backup because he doesn't do the same things that Sanchez does, other than throw interceptions, I might add. But so I don't see him as a pure backup. So then you think, why wouldn't they structure some stuff around it? But they haven't done it. I don't get it.
With due credit to Miami, they were great. I mean,
very good.
Matt Moore's having a great season, and they are an improved team.
A potential biggest surprise of the year. Now with people are talking playoffs for Miami. So I agree with you. Their defense is great. The Jets luckily have, as I said, have that week off, and then we'll get back on. Just like we talked about the Lakers, the focus is on the Jets because they're in New York City. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
They're 81-51 for the Super Bowl, Miami.
Yeah, there you go, on the move. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, mind you, but hey, the money's moving.
Most people didn't know Port Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs were playing in London, but they would have known that the Patriots are obviously over there as well, and that was
slightly bigger crowd. I would
slightly
say,
bigger,
85,000. I think they had at Wembley for that.
It's a marquee AFL game over there as well. Port Adelaide, Western
Bulldogs. Exactly.
If you're going to send two teams over,
let's
why not?
showcase our game in London. Let's send Port Adelaide and the Doggies.
It sounded like a closer game, though. At least the Patriots 45-7 over the Rams, and Patriots like that. That's their second time there, I think, and their second big win, I want to say. So I think London would like to see a more competitive game, but look, they were out and about, and I know some people over there at the NFL UK, and they had stacks of things going on. They had clinics, they had cheerleaders running around Oxford Circus, and Tom Brady, and the people were out and about. So I think they really do it right there, and that's another successful operation there for the NFL in London.
And if one was being facetious, the fact that Port Adelaide and the Bullies are over there in London does allow some AFL officials to go to London.
Does it? Yes. Do they go?
Well, they've got to wait for after Spring Carnival week. That's the only conflict. They'll be in the birdcage
bad
in the
timing.
That's
a good point.
Anything else standing out from the week that was in particular, boys?
Look, the other one I think you have to mention is the Falcons beating the Eagles, because we discussed this a little bit last week, and the heat is really on in Philly now on Andy Reid and Michael Vick.
And every time if you go to any of those sports websites, the Eagles, they get a kicking every week. The Eagles. And Michael Vick gets a kicking every week.
He does, and I think I don't know where you start with that, but it's the same kind of thing. They're now talking about starting the young kid Nick Foles, who they probably should, but Andy Reid's also fighting for his job. So is he going to put a rookie in to fight for his job? I'm not convinced.
And as I mentioned last week, he doesn't get much protection because he gets hammered. He gets hammered.
They've got a lot of problems, and they got the Saints this week, which I think is probably a good thing because they'll be able to move the football.
That's a must-win for both of them.
But can they stop them? Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. That's the Monday Night Football game. So the Tuesday morning game here. Yeah, I agree.
Look, I can't remember because I sort of had it on in the background, but there was a hit in the 49ers game. I think it was the 49ers game. It was one of the biggest hits I've ever seen.
Really?
Maybe one of our listeners can remind me, but he got up, and it was a fair hit, but he got up. It was massive.
There are some. It's amazing when you see every now and then you're reminded again what a vicious game it is when you see a hit like that.
We are going to take a break. Studs and duds to come after this as well. A reminder, it's easy to bet on the go with Betstar. All you have to do is head to betstar.mobi and take them on anywhere, anytime. Ascander's Betstar, proudly Australian owned. We'll take a break. Plenty more to come on Betstars.
This is Bet Stars and Stripes with Dr. Turf, Ed Wyatt and Alice Gander.
Welcome back to Bet Stars and Stripes. A reminder, of course, for double fixed odds on all Group 1 races.